Hey folks, Jake from Casty For Me here. This is a preview of a bonus episode from our Patreon feed, Paid Costly For Me. If you like this and you want to hear more, you can head on over to patreon.com/podcastyforme, where for $5 a month, you can get a new bonus episode every other week. That's patreon.com/podcastyforme. Enjoy! What is Singani?
Singani comes from Bolivia, as we've already talked about. Is considered by some the national alcohol, the national liquor. Like most American distillations, and I say American in the inclusive two continent sense,
sure,
is seemingly a product of the Spanish popularizing distillation. There's there's an ongoing academic argument about whether distillation existed in the Americas before the arrival of the Europeans. It seems like it's possible. Like there's a guy who took some remnants that he found in Coahuila or something, like Colima, some part of Mexico, and he tried to use vessels that were discovered that may have potentially been used for distillation, and he was successfully able to distill. This is the Zisumbo study, which is apparently well known amongst these types of people.
Wow.
And the consensus is not a consensus. It's sort of maybe it was possible, but it certainly doesn't seem like it was popular. So the Spanish arrive,
but do you know about this? Did you see this study that came out earlier this year about how chimpanzees consume the alcohol equivalent of a lager a day in fermented fruit on purpose?
I mean, I haven't seen that study, but I'm a fan of animals just inebriating themselves. I mean, that's the origin of pulque stories. There's a lot of rabbits doing stuff.
I mean, I believe
possums.
Coyote, probably.
Yeah.
Don't they say that
guy's always up to some crazy stuff.
Isn't that like a fringe belief that monkeys did ayahuasca and we became humans or some bullshit like that? Isn't that a thing?
That's interesting.
Never heard
crazy?
That is, I mean,
don't say it's interesting because I don't know.
That people with autistic people were created by aliens trying to put dolphin brains in human bodies.
Wow.
That's a real theory that I read.
I've never heard that. That's a versus setting that somebody would think that.
I'm going full balls on that one. I believe it.
Zero Pinocchios. The primatologists, I believe, coined a new term called scrumping. That's when an ape eats fermented fruit. They're scrumping.
Why
is it? I mean, I don't know. That's fine. Yeah.
Scrumping.
Okay. So anyway, Ian, you were talking about distillation.
Yeah. So, I mean, 16th century Spanish are in Peru and or Peru, Bolivia area. I mean, then it was sort of, the Incan civilization territory.
It's all the territory of the King of Spain.
Yeah, exactly. And they introduce this two grapes. One of them, I've written down
Muscat of Alexandria.
Well, the relevant one is Muscat of Alexandria. Exactly. Sure. That's the one that becomes the basis for Singani. The other one is called Listan Black grape.
Okay.
And these were the two grapes that were introduced into the Americas. And it just seems like over time, this distillation of grape alcohol became Singani, and the Singani is an indigenous word. From the Aymara, I assume it's pronounced Aymara people.
We
know that Soderbergh was in Bolivia for filming the second part of Che, and he was presented this alcohol. And
actually,
go ahead.
Not so well, actually.
No.
He was presented he was presented a bottle of Singani by the Bolivian casting director in Spain they started filming the Bolivia section of Che in Spain.
I think I read that and just assumed that when they said filming the Bolivia. Yeah.
Do you think he smuggled it in a spray bottle? Do you think he brought it over and sprayed it into his mouth?
I think he probably just checked his bag.
Yeah.
So Soderbergh actually tried it back in the Imperial Core, which I think adds an interesting wrinkle. But he tried it, and as he puts it, he started grilling the casting director for an hour, all about Singani.
Yeah.
Wow.
Singani is one of those things where, sort of chemically, I think it's basically indistinguishable from Pisco. But if you say that to someone from Bolivia, they will punch you in the nose.
Sure.
There's other foods of this type. There's lots of food disputes, as culture disputes, which I'm sympathetic to. But it is a it's a distilled brandy product made from grapes from the Andes region of South America. But Singani is now like a designated origin product or whatever. It's has to be made in a certain region, which happens to be roughly the southeastern region of Bolivia, where Che tried and failed to start his revolution.
Yeah.
And they say on the Singani website, and also did you guys watch the documentary that Soderbergh made?
No.
So Soderbergh made it like an 18-minute documentary is a strong word. It's a sort of an advertorial film about Casa Real, Singani, and the making of it, in which basically the master distiller explains exactly why Casa Real Singani is so good. The extremely Spanish-looking CEO of Casa Real. Like before this guy, I would love to show this guy's face to a bunch of people and ask them which European country they think he's from, because you'll get the whole map.
Yeah.
And no one will say Bolivia. But he explains how, it's the Muscat of Alexandria grape is grown above, it's at least a mile above sea level, and because of the intensity of the sun and the hot days and cold nights, it thickens the skin of the grape, which provides the floral aroma. And also the soil is quite poor, and this puts stress on the plant or something in a way that makes the grape taste different. And like all this terroir stuff that is very interesting to me, and like, I like to learn about this stuff.
Yeah, like
and
an
I think it's
academic sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's I think it's cool and good, ultimately, like good for people's sort of consciousness of like the environment and the way that we all live, the way the world works, and our relationship to
the things we consume, to the soil they come from. Yeah. Of
all
course.
That stuff is important. There's all those studies where they dyed white wine red, and people started talking about how much it tasted like red wine. Yeah. There's another study where a guy gave wine experts the same wine 3 times in a row, and they rated it
in the course of a single like wine tasting
10 points differently.
No. God, you hate to see it.
So obviously,
although I have heard kind of responses to that study where like over the course of, sort of statistically over the course of many, many tastings, people do tend to identify like some common features. So I think that speaks more to like contextual variability in the way we are consuming these things, maybe.
Right. But, but also like I could tell you the difference between Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, Pepsi Max, 100%. Coke Zero.
Sure.
Eyes
closed. Doesn't matter what color we dye it. You're locked in. Eyes closed with like the fucking Abu Ghraib music blasting in my ears. I could tell you the difference. But I it's nice that these people are proud of their product. I think that's good. But it also is the Singani is Casa Real Singani 63. It's weird because the name of the product is basically, it's like calling it Whiskey 63.
Whiskey 63. Yeah.
Singani 63
Soderbergh's birth date. This was, just kind of a 1-to-1. Yeah.
It is
like a screen name, basically.
Yeah. It is Casa Real Singani. This is basically like, because I believe they don't export that, or they don't export that to the US. It's like a Burger King Hungry Jack's situation where like in the States, Casa Real just is called Singani 63 and has a different bottle. But like, in the documentary, you can see 2 different like bottling machines, and one of them has the Singani bottle, the Singani 63 bottle, and the other one has the Casa Real.
God.
Want to hear the rest of the episode? Go to patreon.com/podcasty for me and sign up for just $5 a month. We're sorry we do this.